Chibok girl to receive best medical treatment for the purpose of reintegration into the society? House of Representatives passes 2 bills, including that of Efron University, into law. National Hajj Commission approves 6 air carriers for the 2016 exercise. And National Youth Service Corps postpones 2016 Batch A Stream 2 orientation course. A very good evening and thanks for joining us on the NTA Network News for tonight. I am Fumi Wakama. And we begin on a happy note as Amina Ali Nkeke, the first Chibok school girl to be rescued in the renewed onslaught against the Boko Haram insurgency, is to receive the best care the federal government can afford towards reintegration into the society. President Muhammadu Buhari, who stated this while formally receiving the lady in the State House, promised to ensure that the rest of her life takes a completely different course. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has to report.
It is 2:45 Thursday afternoon. Amina Ali Nkeke, who may have been in Sambisa forest for over 2 years in captivity by the Boko Haram insurgents, making a grand entry into the presidential villa, seat of the Nigerian government, accompanied by Governor Kashim Shettima of Borno State, the National Security Advisor, and some members of the Bring Back Our Girls movement. Amina, alongside her mother, brother, and 4-month-old daughter, was the cynosure of all eyes as she was formally handed over to President Muhammadu Buhari. The president, who expressed delight that Amina has regained freedom, however, described as saddening the horrors she had to go through.
Although we cannot do anything to reverse the horrors of her past, federal government can and will do everything possible to ensure that the rest of her life takes a completely different course. Amina will receive the best care that the Nigerian government can afford.
The president promised to ensure that Amina not only gets the best medical, psychological, emotional, and any other care she requires, but also prioritize the continuity of her education abruptly disrupted.
Amina must be able to go back to school. No girl in Nigeria should be put through the brutality of forced marriage. Every girl has the right to an education and a choice of life.
The rescue of Amina, President Buhari said, gives the government new hope and offers a unique opportunity for vital information.
Rest assured that this administration will continue to do all it can to rescue the remaining Chibok girls who are still in Boko Haram's captivity.
Governor Kashim Shettima of Borno State, Defense Minister Mansur Dan Ali, and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonishakin, attributed the new vista of hope provided by this development to the genuine commitment by President Muhammadu Buhari to national security, unity, and stability.
A year ago, we were under real siege. We have to thank you most sincerely, Your Excellency, for all your efforts towards restoring peace in the Northeast.
I'm happy to announce that over 12,000 persons and hostages have been rescued.
Your Excellency, I want to thank you most sincerely for your support for us to do our job. And the operation is continuous.
In an emotion-laden voice, Amina's mother, Binta Ali, was full of gratitude to Nigeria for the rescue of her daughter, whom she said is one of her only 2 surviving children after 14 deliveries. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, has also received the rescued Chibok girl, Amina Ali Nkeke, and her 4-month-old daughter, Safia, alongside her mother, Binta Ali, as well as her brother. Amina, who was in captivity under the Boko Haram insurgents for over 2 years with over 200 other Chibok girls, was brought to the wife of the president by the Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports that Mrs. Buhari also applauded the collaborative efforts of the security agents and others in the fight against insurgency and expressed delight with the rescue of Amina. She prayed for the safe return of the remaining Chibok girls.
We are happy to get back one of the missing girls, and we're looking forward to receiving more girls that got missing. My advice now goes to those that are in Zambeza. In the name of God, for those that are sick, for those that are dying of hunger, they should come out. Nobody will harm them. We are going to receive them. Please and please, we need them. We love all of them.
Cereal, clothing materials and other essential commodities as well as a token amount were donated to support Amina and her baby girl Safia by the wife of the president. And moving away from the rescue of the Chibok girl, reactions by Nigerians over the recent increase in pump price of petrol received greater attention at the National Economic Council meeting in Abuja. The 145 naira ceiling, as explained at the meeting, was a short-term measure taken to protect Nigerians from Shylock oil marketers. State House correspondent Jide Onifade has more on these and other deliberations at the council meeting.
As at last account, the balance on the account of excess crude stood at 2,259,688,876 naira 6 kobo.
Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State giving account on the excess crude oil proceed for the country in the month of April 2016, thus giving credence to the concern of government over the dwindling foreign currency earnings. And following reports by security operatives, the council, is said, recommended the reconstitution of the board of the Niger Delta Holding Company, provide more patrol vehicles and boats, urgently address the massive unemployment rate of youths, and engage the locals to bring militancy to an end in the region.
We are thinking of increasing refining capacity of domestic refineries through co-location of smaller, cost-effective refineries within a time frame of 12 to 24 months.
Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello briefed the press on the situation in states.
Taken and discussed in the meeting today is an update on states that have received bailout funds and those outstanding. Of course, 30 states applied and have benefited so far.
Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udoma Udodoma, who briefed the Council on the Strategic Implementation Plan for the 2016 budget, emphasized the need for collaboration between the federal government and the states.
I emphasize the fact that the budget is aimed at restoring infrastructure and diversifying the economy by fast-tracking agriculture, agro-allied processing, attracting investment into solid minerals, industrialization, tourism, and entertainment sectors.
The Minister of State for Solid Minerals presented the paper on the issuance of licenses for solid minerals exploration by both state and federal government.
In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has passed a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, Ifrim Delta State. A bill to amend the act establishing the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, was also passed for third reading. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports.
2 days after the consideration of the report on the bill to establish the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, Ifrim, it has been passed for third reading. A bill to amend the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, which seeks to increase the number of judges from 37 to 75, was also read for the third time and passed. The House passed for second reading a bill for an act to abrogate the legislative powers delegated to the executive arm of government for the determination of tax administration, sponsored by Representative Garba Dati Muhammad from Kaduna State.
Therefore, the sphere of money bills become non-delegable. That is, this power can never be delegated to anybody.
Another bill for an act to establish the National Marine Insurance Bureau, which seeks to give the Commission the power to charge and collect insurance levies on all charges of crude oil or gas, sponsored by Representative Garba Gololo from Bauchi State, also passed second reading.
That the poor technical skill and knowledge gaps are major factors why foreign nationals dominate and monopolize the marine insurance sector.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it.
Rising under matter of urgent public importance, Representative Henry Ofongo from Bayelsa State urged the House to investigate reasons for denying Nigerian athletes to the 2016 Rio Olympics visa by the Turkish embassy. That motion was adopted.
Resolved to mandate the House Committee on Sports and the House Committee on Foreign Affairs to investigate the reasons why our athletes were denying visa by the Turkish embassy and report back within 7 days.
The House received 10 reports from the Committees on Agricultural Production Services, Federal Judiciary, and the Federal Road Safety Commission. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And still staying with the National Assembly, the World Health Organization, WHO, has requested the National Assembly to provide a proper legislative framework towards addressing tuberculosis in Nigeria, rated third highest prevalent tuberculosis country in the world. This was the submission of the UN delegation of Stop TB Partners at a meeting with the Joint Committee on Health. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Among the issues discussed at the meeting were Nigeria's rating as the highest tuberculosis country in Africa, diagnosis and control challenges, as well as policies that will regularize access to the drugs. According to the Global TB report, over 4 million cases are expected to occur in the country before the end of year 2020 if proper measures are not being provided.
The legislative leadership to understand the urgency and importance of the problem at this moment in the country's history, and to reflect an allocation decision that supports a more robust response.
We will now ensure that the information goes around to all Nigerians on the little things that they are supposed to do to avoid the communicable diseases.
The legislature promised to ensure judicious use of the funds allocated in the budget in line with the United Nations resolutions to close Nigeria's tuberculosis gap, accounting to 15% of the global gap. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
The Senate is to mediate in the dispute between the federal government and organized labor over the fuel price increase. The Senate President, Bukola Saraki, said this after a closed-door meeting with the leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress led by Ayuba Waba. Muhammad Ali reports.
The meeting between the Senate President and the Ayuba Waba-led Nigerian Labour Congress, which lasted about 30 minutes, was held behind closed door. The Senate President, Bukola Saraki, informed National Assembly correspondents after the meeting that the mediation efforts of the Senate is aimed at bringing back both parties to the negotiating table to end the strike and save Nigerians from further hardship.
I'm happy to report that the agency have shown their commitment to continue dialogue with government, and our role is to see that we can facilitate that. Through dialogue, we can address the issue.
President, Nigerian Labour Congress Ayuba Waba said the union is willing to resume talk with federal government over the increase in electricity tariff and pump price of petrol.
Because we are also doing this in the best interest of all of us as working class and also the larger majority of citizens.
The Senate mediation, which is coming on day 2 of the national strike, is expected to fast-track resolution of the dispute. From the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali, NTA News.
And still staying with labor matters, the Joe Ajaero-led faction of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress have agreed to stay all industrial actions to allow for effective implementation of the federal government palliative measures. This follows the intervention by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachir David Lawal, Labour and Employment Minister and other parties concerned. In a communique at the end of the meeting, the parties agreed that a 15-member technical committee be constituted to consider suggestions on the component of the 500 billion naira provided in the 2016 budget to cushion the effect of the increase in the price of petrol. The constitution of the technical committee will include 7 members from the Federation of Trade Unions, Trade Union Congress and the Ayuba-led NLC 5 members, while the Ajero-led NLC will have 2 members. The federal government side, which has representations from different ministries, has the Labour Minister and that of Employment as the chairman. The affected trade unions have been requested to submit all their nominees before the close of work on Friday. A statement by the Ministry of Labour and Employment indicates that the committee will be inaugurated on Monday, the 23rd of May. 30% of the 2016 budget dedicated to capital expenditure will, aside the massive infrastructural development, also provide jobs that will cushion the effect of the liberalization of the nation's downstream subsector. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, stated this at an All Progressive Congress Sensitization Forum in Abuja. Ismail Musa has details.
The interactive session with the APC National Working Committee and the state chairman focused on the federal government's decision regarding the review of petrol and the benefit inherent in the policy.
We want a situation where party leaders from all over the country do not form their opinions on the basis of newspaper publications.
This new price regime will also strengthen and make our government at every level much more viable. Because that crude belongs to the Federation account, which NNPC have been using to supplement its swap system, will cease, and then there will now be more money for the 3 tiers of government to share. This price regime is going to encourage more investment in refineries and in the downstream sector. 3-4 days ago, 37 companies were jostling to come and invest in our refineries in Nigeria, just because we opened up the system.
After a comprehensive deliberation, the state chairmen were convinced that the decision to liberalize the downstream sector was necessary, considering the happenings in the international oil market. From the APC National Secretariat Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
There appears to be a crack in the Borno State chapter of the PDP as a group is challenging the process that produced the new executive members of the party in the recent Congress held in Maiduguri. Pauline Kujivana reports that the group under the Name Stakeholders Forum said the process was not fair nor transparent.
Spokesman for the forum, Usmani Danjuma Ibrahim, dissociated themselves from the recent PDP congresses held in the state, describing the outcome as null and void.
We are determined to put a stop to all sort of impunity, conspiracy, torturing, all manners of illegalities who derailed and violate the constitution of our great party.
The Stakeholders Forum, who rejected all officials that emerged from the congresses, said they have decided to align themselves with the Jerry Ghana Mantu faction of the PDP at the national level. The Borno PDP stakeholders commiserated with the victims of recent bomb blasts in different parts of the state, but noted that security agencies are on top of the situation in the state. They commended the federal government and security agencies for their effort in the fight against insurgency, particularly the rescue of the Chibok schoolgirl, Amina Ali. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujivana, NTA News.
Wife of the Vice President, Dolapo Oshibajo, has commended the military for defending the territorial integrity of Nigeria, urging the public to support the officers and men in their endeavor. She gave the commendation at the foundation laying of blocks of new classrooms as part of activities marking the 2016 Depovo Week. Defense correspondent Muhammad Abdul Kadri reports.
The block of classroom is part of efforts to open up the school for more pupils to be admitted. The wife of the vice president, who commended the initiative of the association, applauded the gallantry of the troops in Operation Lafia Dole.
It is clear that the power does not rest on its oars, neither is it satisfied on the successes they have already attained.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonisakin, said the military will provide more support to the school to maintain the best standard in education.
Over the years, the power has remained committed to its motto of unity and dedication.
The President, Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, Omombolanle Olonisakin, said the project is aimed at upgrading the facilities in the school.
The Power Daycare Nursery and Primary School is one of the best among its peers.
The association donated consumable and non-consumable items for the upkeep of the widows and children in the orphanage. The power is making a difference in the life of the orphans. Think of how best to improve the lives of the needy. That is the lesson. In Abuja, Muhammad Abdul Kadri, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, has enjoined Nigerians to love and accommodate one another's culture and beliefs. It was in a message to the International Conference on Countering Violent Extremism Through Love and Tolerance, organized by the UF-UK Dialogue, UN Women and Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution in Abuja. Lydia Bassi reports.
Represented by Dr. Asabe Bashir, Member, House of Representatives, Aisha Buhari noted the topic of discussion as quite remarkable as the world battles the global challenge of violent extremism, adding that the Nigerian experience with Boko Haram has shown that violent extremism is senseless and barbaric.
Without love and tolerance towards each other, violent extremism can hardly be combated without further destruction of lives.
The Director General Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, Professor Oshita, advised Nigerians to embrace diversity and use it as a tonic for positive change.
As an institute charged with conflict prevention and peace building, the institute considers love and tolerance as important dynamics in positive human relationships.
Concerned Nigerians and partners added voice to the need to encourage forgiveness and kindness for a better society free of bitterness.
These conflicts have placed tremendous burdens on Nigerian communities, especially women.
Sound education and the right religious and moral teaching is needed to propagate the message of love and tolerance. In Abuja, Lydia Bassi, NTA News.
Ahead on the news tonight, Acting Comptroller General of Immigration assumes duty. Details when we come back.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
As the sun rises over the hills of Abuja, so too dawns a new way of life and exquisite standard of living. Enjoy your own originally designed and quality-built home in the serene and secure environment of Sunrise Hills. Experience this uplifting lifestyle with breathtaking views of the city. Rise above. Sunrise Hills is unlike anything you've ever seen before. A new way of life is dawning in the heart of Nigeria.
Bringo! Bringo! Dog, I go chop you. Bringo!
You're welcome. Ibu. If you like, try till now to thank Kingdom come. You go ever feel sing or dance like us. Or shall you fit hammer just like us. Or you carry your phone, text Glow to 555. Answer the shaking football question. What then go send and you fit hammer 5 million naira just like that.
Yes, so 125 million naira they grant beam for the Glow Hammer Millions promo. And you say fit be one of the winners, so just text Glow to 555. And you fit be one of the 5 winners to hammer 5 million naira each every 20 days. Hey, or one of the 10 people to win 100,000 naira each every day. Hey, SMS now 100 naira only. This Hammer Millions promo they sweet my belly. The more you play, the more your chance they increase to hammer.
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
The Executive Governor, Right Honorable Aminu Bello Masari, and the entire people of Katsina State wish to thank specially Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, for honoring our invitation to declare open the 2016 Katsina State Economic and Investment Summit. The people of Katsina State appreciate your esteemed presence and the goodwill you brought to bear at this historic gathering. Long live Mr. President, long live Katsina State, long live Federal Republic of Nigeria. Right Honorable Aminu Bello Masari, Governor, Katsina State. Announcer. The National Lottery Trust Fund is set for the official unveiling, commissioning, and presentation of sports equipment to 2,000 selected primary schools nationwide to promote grassroots sports development in Nigeria under its Lottery Good Causes program. The presentation of these world-class equipment covering 9 different sports, including athletics, volleyball, football, handball, badminton, table tennis, basketball, judo, and taekwondo. This event will take place at the Shehu Musa Yirodua Center on Friday, 20th May 2016 by 10 a.m. prompt. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Yemi Osibanjo, Vice President of Nigeria. Other invited guests include Engineer Habu Ahmed Gumel, Executive Secretary. Announcer.
The National Convention Committee of the People's Democratic Party welcomes the National Chairman of PDP, Dr. Ali Modu Sharif, members of the NWC, Deputy Senate President, PDP Governors, Senate Minority Leader, PDP Senators, members of House of Reps, members of Board of Trustees, PDP Speakers and Assembly, all national delegates to the 2016 PDP National Convention holding on Saturday, 21st May 2016 at the Shark Stadium, Moscow Road, Port Harcourt, River State at 10 a.m. God bless you as you come. Signed, Honorable Inuwa Bawal, on behalf of the National Convention Committee.
PDP, power to the people.
We are here to serve, and indeed, Nigerians would get the service they have longed for and which they rightly deserve.
The leader today that we have in Nigeria is one the world has been waiting for. Nigeria is seen in a new and a different, very positive light.
With what President Muhammadu Buhari is doing, our economy will be strong and resilient to withstand the shocks.
He wants the best for this nation. We want the best for this nation. Our aspirations should be to put this country first, and together we shall make progress.
If we don't believe in our own country, nobody will believe in our own country. So we must make sure that we continue with the trajectory. We don't want to make a mistake of the past.
This president has a singular opportunity to make that difference because the whole country is behind him.
And by the grace of Almighty God and the sheer will and determination of the Nigerian people, we will come out stronger and more united than ever.
still watching the NTA Network news. The National Youth Service Corps NYSC has postponed the 2016 Batch A Stream 2 orientation course scheduled to begin on Saturday the 21st of May 2016 due to logistic reasons. The Director of Press and Public Relations NYSC, Abosede Adelbigbe, said this in an interview with Olayinka Ojo.
Management of NYSC has to put the orientation on hold for now due to logistic reasons. As soon as we got wind that we cannot hold the orientation, we had to push out statements that the prospective corps members should stay in their respective places where they reside so that they won't proceed to orientation.
While all inconveniences are highly regretted, prospective corps members are urged to watch out for a new date of the commencement of the orientation course. 6 out of the 9 air carriers that applied for this year's Hajj operations have been approved. 2 others have also been approved as excess luggage carriers out of the 4 that applied. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria confirmed this at a news briefing on the state of preparedness for the 2016 Hajj. Mohammed Hamza Sheikh has that report.
Some of the criteria used in measuring the suitability of the air carriers for the 2016 Hajj operations include befitting aircrafts, strong financial backing, experience and trained operational staff. At the end of the screening, Max Air, Medview, Donia, Top Brass, Flyness and Asman scaled through as passenger carriers, while Naco Avians and Medview International Travels and Cargo were found suitable as excess luggage carriers.
States are supposed to choose the carriers that they would patronize, but no state can go to the extent of choosing a carrier before a carrier is, before they are informed of the eligibility of such a carrier. And even then, the carriers too, before they are informed, before they are found eligible, they need to be screened. And then that should have been preceded by placing adverts in the dailies to invite them accordingly.
The Commission said it is strictly adhering to its calendar of events for the preparations.
We have our own calendar of events here based on previous experiences and at the same time based on requirements of Saudi Arabian laws, and at the same time we have to abide by certain environmental, socio-economic factors.
Muhammad Hamza Sheikh, NTA News.
The Pro-Chancellor of the Al-Azhar University, Cairo, Egypt, Sheikh Hamad Al-Tahib, has donated relief materials to internally displaced persons at Durmi IDP camp in Abuja. Abdullahi Suleiman Yaji reports.
Ahmed Al-Tayyib, accompanied to the camp by some clerics, sympathized with the internally displaced persons and urged them to see their situation as a trial from Almighty Allah, which will improve with time. He assured them of his commitment towards alleviating their sufferings.
We're making arrangement for those who are already in the SS3. This thing happened and then they now may wish to sit for the exams. We want to arrange a place where they will have classes. That's what I mean, to now, as remedial, to be able to sit for their NECO or WAEC. So in that area too, being an education institution, Al-Azhar that it is, a renowned one, I think it should be the oldest university who are on the universe now. And I will put it to him that we want cooperation in that area with regards to teaching staff, teaching materials.
The coordinator of the camp also appealed to well-placed individuals in society to assist the camp with amenities that can enhance the standard of living. In Abuja, Abdullahi Suleiman Yaji, NTA News.
In a related development, the United Nations Humanitarian Affairs has reiterated its commitment to complementing federal government's efforts in the provision of relief materials and resettling of internally displaced persons in their respective host communities. The United Nations Under-Secretary General for Emergency Relief, Stephen O'Brien, stated this when he paid a visit to the management of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, in Abuja. Olajide Bello was there.
After visiting some areas ravaged by insurgency in the northeast, seeing the level of damage and government efforts at restoring peace as well as resettling internally displaced persons back back to their respective communities, Stephen O'Brien stressed the need for a revamping of the educational sector and agriculture to ensure food security.
For us to explore how we can now really step up and scale up our response to meet the humanitarian needs. Because if we can do that, we not only give people that chance to survive and to be protected from so often the vulnerabilities that they're in.
He stressed the need for a safe access for the UN to be able to complement government efforts in the areas of resettlement, health, education, as well as relief materials. Director General National Emergency Management Agency Sani Sidi lauded the commitment of the United Nations Humanitarian Affairs, describing the collaboration as a welcome development.
And now that a lot of successes has been recorded by the military in the fight against insurgency, the humanitarian dashboard is fast changing from emergency response to rehabilitation and recovery of the affected communities and affected persons. Therefore, he has assured us that the UN system in Nigeria are going to scale up their activities in that regard.
He added that the federal government is in talks with neighboring countries where some victims of insurgency are residing, with a view of resettling them back to their host communities. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
In the wake of the resurgence of pipeline vandalism in Delta State, the governor, Ifeanyi Okowa, has set machinery in motion to checkmate the menace. The Advocacy Committee on Anti-Pipeline Vandalism, headed by the Deputy Governor, Kingsley Otuaro, Eloho Abra, reports that the committee has commenced a tour of the riverine communities where their chief custodians and subjects have vowed to partner with government at all levels to put an end to the ugly trend.
The chief custodians of the communities visited include Yolu of Warri, His Royal Majesty Ogiame Kewali I, the Pere of Gbaramatu Kingdom, His Royal Majesty Oboro II, the Ebinanawe of Ogulaha Kingdom, His Royal Majesty Eda Joseph Temia, and the Agadagba of Egbema Kingdom, His Royal Majesty Good Tiemo. The Deputy Governor said the committee's visit is to engage a cross-section of people and advocate towards making them realize that bombing of oil facilities under any guise is not the way out, but rather worsen the economic situation of the country. He appealed to the people to collaborate with governments in finding a lasting solution to this menace.
They are quite hopeful that they are going to collaborate and partner with government to ensure that this indiscriminate pumping of critical oil infrastructure is put to a stop.
There was a consensus on the need for sustained dialogue, as every kingdom visited gave a firm promise of partnering with governments. They also appealed to those involved in such acts to desist forthwith. The coordinator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, General Paul Boro, retired, commended Governor Ifeanyi Okowa for the constitution of the Committee on Pipeline Vandalism. Elo Agbra, NTA News.
The Nigerian Navy says the recent directive by President Muhammadu Buhari that a multinational task force patrols the Gulf of Guinea has been effected. Chief of Policy and Plans of the Nigerian Navy, Rear Admiral Jacob Ajani, stated this while briefing the media on the activities of the Service Diamond Jubilee in Abuja. Defense correspondent KG Busari Ahmed reports.
Recently, oil theft, bunkering, piracy and other maritime-related crimes on the country's waterways and the Gulf of Guinea assumed a new dimension with an upsurge in criminalities in that sector. With the recent directive by President Muhammadu Buhari that the menace be checked and a multinational task force patrol the Gulf of Guinea, the leadership of the Nigerian Navy has since set to work.
The Nigerian Navy ships have been deployed to carry out routine patrols of the maritime environment. These patrols are directed at choke points and areas with antecedents for high illegal activities.
From January this year till date, the Nigerian Navy, in collaboration with Operation Polo Shield and other security agencies, destroyed 118 illegal refineries and 16 barges, while 7 wooden boats were arrested and 80 destroyed. The Nigerian Navy Diamond Jubilee celebration, which kicks off this week, would hold an international maritime conference and a sea exercise parading 6 countries, including France, next week. From the Naval Headquarters in Abuja, KG Busari Ahmed, NTA News.
Past and present administrations have been commended for unrelenting support towards ensuring reforms, restructuring, and rehabilitation of prisons across the country. Former Comptroller General of Prisons, Peter Ekwendu, gave the commendation at his pull-out parade in Abuja. Olajide Bello was there and now reports.
The event was signaled by the official pulling-out parade of the former Controller General of Prisons, Peter Ekwendu, followed by the inspection of Guard of Honor by the Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazau, who later commissioned a block of 6 classrooms donated by the wife of the outgoing Controller General.
Every opportunity we have to contribute to education adds value to the society.
Commending officers and men of the Nigerian Prison Service for their commitment, doggedness, and dedication in the discharge of their duties during his tenure, Peter Ekwendu urged them to extend the zeal to the incoming Controller General.
We must remain consistent in upholding integrity, demonstrating examples that are humane and compassionate in carrying out the onerous task of managing those under our custody.
Peter Ezenwa Ekwendu was Controller General of Prisons from 5th December 2014 to 17th May 2016. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Mohammed Babandede has taken over as Acting Comptroller General Immigration Service. He took over from Mr. Martin Skure Abeshi, who retires from service. Mr. Babandede's appointment was conveyed in a letter signed by the Minister of Interior, General Abdurrahman Dambazau. Mohammed Babandede, who hails from Jigawa State, holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in History and Islamic Studies before proceeding to the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, where he obtained a master's degree in Law Enforcement and Criminal Justice. He was before now Deputy Comptroller General Operations and Passports, a position he occupied in January 2014. Mr. Babandede has been representing the service at the National Hajj Commission. He received an award of the Member of the Order of the Federal Republic, MFR, in 2014. Commitment to intellectual work has been described as a determinant of development of any society. This came to the fore at the presentation of a book, I Remember, an autobiography of Professor Oladipo Ademolekun, an academician. Kemi Fakeye has that report.
The 352-page book chronicled the making of Professor Oladipo Ademolekun, his educational background, career progression, researches, teachings, family and social life were succinctly put in 6 parts to impact whoever reads it, the values of discipline, dedication, commitment and selfless service to humanity.
So I think there are stories, there are elements there that both for young and the old and for future generations, you know, what's sharing.
For other dignitaries, life is all about history, and not many people can give account of their life in a way that is not boring, just as Professor Ademolekun did in I Remember.
This is a must read for all educational managers at all levels, as well as policymakers, especially politicians.
He's a disciplinarian growing up, and you can see that in his writing.
Born in Iju, Akure North Local Government Area of Ondo State in 1908, he joined the academic profession in 1968, and since then, he has sustained his love for researches and publications in public administration. Professor Ademolekun, who has co-authored and authored over 30 books and 110 articles and chapters in books, has also worked in the public and private sectors, including the World Bank. He is a recipient of the Nigerian National Order of Merit. Kemi Fakeye, NTA News.
You are watching NTA Network News, and I'll hand you over to Ademola in Lagos, who will give us details of stories making headlines from that zone. Good evening, Demola.
Good evening, Fumi. Welcome to Lagos. The need for a paradigm shift in urban design has been identified as very critical to Nigeria's quest to mitigate and adapt to climate change. Annie Daniels reports that The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, disclosed this at the 2016 Urban Design Forum in Lagos.
Available statistics by the United Nations Habitat shows that more than 50% of the world's population now live in cities. Projections also suggest that by 2030, this figure will increase to over 60%. To this end, Minister of Power, Work and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, disclosed that planning to effectively meet the conditions and realities of a post-carbon, climate-responsible world will require compliance with town planning policies by everybody.
When we build the drains, they are more effective in a straight line than at curves. And when flooding comes, the water is moving at very rapid velocity. When it hits a curve, it's likely to jump out. When it jumps out, where is it going? It's coming to my house and your house.
The forum had in attendance environmental experts who took turns to advocate a more robust and concerted effort by stakeholders.
The fight for climate change will be mostly in cities, because most of the activities, industrial, transportation, buildings, are the ones that generate a lot of greenhouse gases.
If we're going to have a green wall of the desert to fight the desert, then we can also have a green wall of the sea to protect the coastal area of Lagos, which is very densely populated, against ocean rise and ocean surges.
The theme of the forum is urban design in the age of climate change. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Minister of State for Education, Professor Gozie Anwuka, has reiterated federal government's commitment to revamping the education sector, especially the federal unity colleges. The minister gave the assurance when he visited the Federal Science and Technical College, Yaba, Lagos. Jane Ojukwu has the report.
The Minister of State for Education, Professor Gozie Anwuka, being conducted around the school facilities, including science laboratories and technical workshops. While acknowledging the importance of education in building the necessary capacity for national development, Professor Anwuka noted that adequate facilities play a critical role in ensuring effective learning. He decried the state of most of the technical equipment used for practicals in the school and promised to take speedy action on them.
We put things together and make sure that those machines are replaced.
The minister later commissioned key infrastructural projects provided by the Parents Teachers Association PTA of the school in collaboration with the school management. They include 1,200 capacity female hostel and 1,200 classroom and examination furniture, among others. The principal of the college, Chris Ugoji, expressed optimism that the projects will further enhance teaching and learning in the school.
With the completion and commission of this hostel, you can be very sure that the students now will no longer be exposed to traveling every day. And at the end of it all, they will do better in academics.
The students were urged to make judicious use of the facilities. In Lagos, Jane Ojukwu, NTA News.
And that does it from Lagos. We now take a break for some commercials, after which the news continues from Abuja. Stay with us.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
A famous boxer once said, "The fight is won long before you step into the ring." It takes massive investment, dedication, planning, and during fierce competition, never backing down. In 2005, Glow invested in the world's only privately owned undersea data cable. then connected this to its extensive fiber optic network throughout Nigeria, which seamlessly delivers flexible and affordable data plans for everyone, making Glow Nigeria's largest data network in new subscriptions. You see, it's not what you step into the ring with that makes you the master. It's everything you did to get you there. Dial *777# to choose an attractive data plan. The largest data network, Glow, Grandmasters of Data.
A communication system that works helps us to communicate among ourselves, provide security of lives and property, fight crime, and protect our people. It is economic sabotage to disrupt transmission or operation of telecom services and is considered a criminal offense, which attracts 3 to 10 years imprisonment. Therefore, unless you have legal business at any telecommunication site in Nigeria, stay away. If you notice any attempt to destroy, damage, or remove any telecommunication equipment in your area, stop them before they stop you from communicating whenever you want. Report to the nearest police station as quickly as possible. Let's all protect our telecommunication facilities all over Nigeria and help combat insecurity.
Stop vandalization in your communities. Report any person you see at the site to the security agents in your areas.
This message comes to you from Nigeria Police in collaboration with IHS.
And we'll begin this segment with business news. Nigeria's sovereign wealth fund hits over $1 billion. Over now to Vivian Idekwefo for details on our business segment.
A warm welcome to the business news segment. The Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Aisha Abubakar, has called on investors in the sugar sector to invest in human capital development as a means of building quality personnel that can drive the federal government's sugar policy. She was speaking with major players in the sector in Numan, Adamawa State.
Nigeria wants to diversify and industrialize, and we have people who have been in the industry for so many years. There's so much to learn.
The Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, the manager of the nation's sovereign wealth fund, has announced a total asset of over $1.8 billion under its management. The managing director of the fund, Uche Oji, in a statement, says this includes seed capital of over $1.25 billion and third-party funds of about $550 million. The NSIA, the statement added, is shifting focus from foreign investments to domestic investments. And the equities market closed on a positive note as the all-share index appreciated by 0.99%. Here is an illustration of transactions on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange this Thursday. And that concludes business news at this time. Thanks for being there. Good evening.
Many thanks, Vivian. Still to come on the news tonight, an update on crashed Egyptian airline. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We have always lived together as brothers and sisters. Though we speak different languages and celebrate different cultures, we were still one Nigeria. There was no bombing. There was no kidnapping, and our children were not cultists. Now, we suspect one another as there are spreads of cultism, bombing, and kidnapping. How long shall this go on? Terrorism is alien. Kidnapping is criminal. Cultism is barbaric. Nigeria is a blessed country. Support the Nigeria Police and the fight against terrorism, kidnapping, and cultism. Always inform the police of any incident around you. Say something when you suspect something.
Remember, we all have a stake in building a crime-free Nigeria of our dream.
This message is from the Nigeria Police Force.
The production, distribution, and sale of counterfeit and fake drugs is a corrupt practice and a crime against humanity. This has informed several measures and strategies to combat fake drugs, including introduction of anti-counterfeiting cutting-edge technologies to detect fake drugs on the spot. These technologies are being deployed to all the states across the Federation, as well as the internally displaced people's camps. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, and his team are committed to this fight.
The federal government of Nigeria, in line with its anti-corruption agenda and posture, will fight a total war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products in order to ensure that Nigerians remain healthy and well.
Lend your support and join NAFDAC to rid the country of fake drugs and unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Wreckage of Egypt Air Flight M5804 found near an island in Greece. These and more with Talatu Izreki on Global Tidbits.
Progress in the search mission at the Mediterranean for the missing Egypt Air Flight with the wreckage of the plane found. The plane en route Paris to Cairo was carrying 66 passengers and crew, most of them Egyptians, French and a Briton, when it went down overnight. Officials say the plane is likely to have been brought down by a terrorist act than a technical fault. However, no group has claimed responsibility. From Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta has called on the opposition to stop its protest to demand that the Electoral Commission be dissolved and a new one formed ahead of next year's elections. In Uganda, new anti-smoking law takes effect. With the law, smokers are to be at least 50 meters away from public building when smoking or face a fine of $60 or imprisonment. And veteran CBS News journalist Molly Sefer dies at the age of 84. The Canadian-American, with a 60-year career in journalism, was a correspondent on the program 60 Minutes, which he anchored for 46 years before his retirement few days ago. That is all on Global Tidbits. Talati Ezerike, NTA News.
Nigerian Army pledges support to Nigeria Olympics Committee in producing athletes as Usain Bolt hails authorities for tackling doping in sports. Ayodeji Makinde has more.
The Nigerian Army has reassured the Nigerian Olympic Committee of its commitment to producing more athletes that will hoist the country's flag and win laurels at major international competitions. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, gave the reassurance midweek when he received members of the Nigeria Sports for All Commission, led by Henry Amike at the Army headquarters, Abuja, while also granting their requests to have the Army participate in the 5-kilometer 2016 Olympic Day run, scheduled for the 26th June. The Spanish La Liga for the second consecutive year will have 5 representatives in the 2016-2017 UEFA Champions League after Sevilla secured automatic qualification following a 3-1 defeat of Liverpool in the Europa League final on Wednesday. Sevilla claimed a 3rd straight title and 5th overall in 10 years, halting Liverpool's bid for a first European crown since 2005. World Sprint record holder Usain Bolt has hailed the combined efforts of the World Anti-Doping Agency and International Association of Athletics Federation at tackling doping in sports.
They're proving that anybody who has cheated, they're going to catch you. So I think it's something that will help the sport in the future because they're so vigilant and they're doing much better.
The 29-year-old Jamaican, who has never failed a drug test, says he's focused at breaking his world records at the 2016 Rio Olympics. With sports updates, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
The family of the late 33rd Osana of Kernan, Nasarawa State, has announced the burial arrangements of its royal father, late Emmanuel Elio. A statement by the family indicates that the body of the late monarch will leave the National Hospital Abuja on Friday, the 20th of May 2016 for a mass at the Cathedral of St. William's Catholic Church, Lafia, while interment will be on Saturday, the 21st at the historic Royal Cemeteries, Amiri Keana. The late monarch was a former senator of the Federal Republic, a teacher, philanthropist, devout Christian, an initiator of various peace initiatives, and a commissioner in Plateau State. He is survived by his wife, Tina Elio, children and grandchildren. And next we take a quick look at the weather prospects for tomorrow.
Hello and welcome to the weather forecast. I am Elizabeth Akwama. The satellite imagery shows yesterday that there are some systems that developed around the Yola axis. It's shaded and propagating, moving and affecting the cities along its path, and lingered and shaded in the central cities, affecting Abuja, Lafia, Kaduna, and Zaria axis.
And that's the much we can take on NTA Network News for tonight. I am Fumi Wakama. Good night.
Thank you.